There's no doubt this compromise on the debt ceiling the president signed today fell far short of what he initially wanted. Remember, at the beginning, he wanted a grand compromise, $4 trillion over 10 years. He got a little more than half that. He insisted at the beginning one debt ceiling increase. This compromise, it's a two-tier program. And the president also wanted what he calls a balanced approach, meaning he wanted tax increases guaranteed as part of this deal. There is no guarantee of tax increases in the deal the president signed into law. Yet, despite making so many compromises himself, the president says, not perfect, but good enough for now.
This is, however, just the first step. This compromise requires that both parties work together on a larger plan to cut the deficit, which is important for the long-term health of our economy. And since you can't close the deficit with just spending cuts, we'll need a balanced approach where everything's on the table.
It is the health of the long-term economy, the struggles in the long-term economy that make the president worry, not just as president, but as a candidate for re-election, because most of the numbers coming out have been pretty stunning when you look at the historical data about re-election. This is what the government has told us in recent months about the growth of the economy, GDP. Got a little better, and then look at this, it starts to flatline. The last 2 quarters down here, anemic territory. A president to be re-elected needs to be up. History would tell you to be confident of re-election. The president, obviously, at the moment, well below that. And that's just one of the numbing statistics. Let's also look at the unemployment rate. We know when the stimulus program passed, the administration said unemployment would peak at 8.1%. We also know that didn't happen. It went above 10% at one point. You see the struggles across the line there. At 9.2% today, we'll get another report from the government on Friday on this front. But again, since FDR, decades ago, no incumbent has won re-election with a rate higher than 7.2%. There is no doubt this president will be trying to defy that history. This line down here, he's well above it right now. If the unemployment rate is up, well, that's pretty obvious. What's up with job growth? Watch the job growth in the Obama administration. In the negative early on because of the recession, then we came out a little up and down. This is the most troubling part in recent months. Again, we're going to learn more on Friday about last month. But to be reelected, a president needs to be up here. According to all the historical data, President Obama at the moment well below that. Yet another troubling sign to the Obama re-election campaign there. Also, beyond the economic statistics, your psychology about the economy, consumer confidence is very important in how you vote. May, June, July, this is the University of Michigan study. You see the drop right here, 63.8%. To be reelected in recent years, any president above 95% gets a second term. Down below, you're in the dicey territory, which is exactly where President Obama finds himself right now. Let's just recap where we are so far when you go through the economic statistics. GDP growth in the economy, nowhere near where the president needs it to be. Job growth in the economy, again, well below where the president needs it to be comfortable about his re-election. And how you feel, your attitude about the economy, also way down here. So as the president signed this deal today, he made the pivot to the issue he knows is number one, jobs.
What can we do to help the father looking for work? What are we going to do for the single mom who's seen her hours cut back at the hospital? What are we going to do to make it easier for businesses to put up that now sign?
Here's one of the things the president is trying most to change as we move this one off the screen. How you feel about the state of the country. Right track, wrong track, satisfied or dissatisfied. 79% of Americans in a Pew Center study just recently, 79% say they're dissatisfied with the direction of the country. That means 8 in 10 Americans think the country's heading in the wrong direction. Hard to get reelected to say, give me 4 more years when so much of the country is in a funk. So the president needs to try to change that dynamic. We also know from recent data that the president has been sliding among white voters. 2008, about an even split. Republicans with an edge, but a slight edge. A new Pew Center study says, look at this. 52% of whites now say they plan to vote Republican, 39% the Democrat. So that's one big drop the president faces when he looks at the Electoral College map, tries to pick states for 2012. That's one alarming sign. Here's another one right here, and this one is incredibly important to the White House. March, May, July, look at that drop. 31% of independents now say they would like to see President Obama reelected. Well, you can see the drop anyway. Here's why it's important. In 2008, in that big Obama win, he had 52% support among independents. That's a 21% drop. The president cannot afford that come November 2012, which is why, again, as he prepared to sign the deal today, the president's message aimed right at voters in the middle, saying they want Washington to get things done.
So, voters may have chosen divided government, but they sure didn't vote for dysfunctional government. They want us to solve problems. They want us to get this economy growing and adding jobs.
A reminder there of the economic challenges facing the country, facing the president as president, and also facing the president as he prepares to campaign for re-election. A daunting challenge ahead.